Hi everyone, this is Olivia from the Alexandrienne channel, and today we are going to talk about Dangles Demystified, the second part of the first video, which has to do with lines. We deconstructed the alphabet in the last video and broke it all the way down to two types, which are masculine and feminine, and that's what we are going to talk about today. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. If you're ready, let's get started with Dangles Demystified Part 2, Feminine and Masculine Lines. Let's start first with the feminine. The feminine lines are sweeping and curvy. I think I mentioned previously, almost like a winding stream. Anything that is wavy and soft would be considered feminine. Masculine, on the other hand, is virtually the opposite. Hard edged, kind of rigid, straight. I don't know, if I'm looking outside and I see a paved road that's not winding, I would call that masculine. Light poles, um, square tables, anything like that would be masculine. So, what would we call it? Definite line. And the feminine would be the soft, flowing line. And now let's go into this just a little bit more. Let's talk about some different types of lines that both feminine and masculine use. You'll have just your regular line, like your regular pencil line, and then you can have one that is a thick line, not thick as in a thicker marker, but thick as in you have deliberately created a space within the line. And then you can also have a thicker line, like with a thicker marker. You can have a broken line. And there is also another type of line that I really am partial to. It's a double line. And one of the things I like about that is it gives it kind of a childlike quality. And you'll find that in some of the artwork that I do. And if it's not quite perfect, that's okay. It doesn't have to be. That's part of the point, especially with the childlike quality. Now let's talk a little bit about serif and sans serif. What is the difference between the two of them? Serifs, or serif lettering, have an extra stroke. It's easy to see, like at the end of an A, you'll see maybe two little bars at the bottom, and that is definitely more decorative. Whereas sans serif doesn't have those little extra lines. They're just basic. Okay? Okay. So the way I kind of like to interpret that instead of sans serif or serif, I think when you're creating, say, like the dangles, it's more of a design or not. Do you want to put a design at the end of your letters? And sometimes I don't, but usually I do. And so I've added a picture that I've put in a few of my other videos at the end of this one, and I wanted to briefly go over it, which is some of it is kind of a repeat of what I just covered. But since it is one of the basic building blocks of dangle lettering, it's worth taking the time. You have the feminine, you have the masculine, and of course the feminine, swirly, wavy, typically a lovely line. Masculine, straight, hard, heavy. With dangles, you can make anything heavy or light that you want. And it can be a combination of the two. It could be part feminine and part masculine. If you'll look at the image I have here, you can see on the top right where that's the case. On the top and the bottom of the first line, I have swirls. So that would be feminine that goes into masculine that goes back into feminine. The one next to it, the very top, is a loop, and then it goes into a straight line. So that loop is feminine, that straight line is masculine, and you see at the bottom it jets off to the left and then back over to the right. That would also be masculine. And now there are examples that you can see of swirly feminine lines and rigid masculine lines, but I wanted to go over some of the other information here because I think I've covered the other pretty well. Patterns. You can use any kind of pattern that you would like. And in the book, I'm going to cover that quite a bit, and I probably will do a video on this as well. But depending on the size of the letter or word that you're creating, you might only be able to put a very simple pattern or a simple image inside of your letter or next to your letter. And so your size is somewhat limited. So you do have to take that into consideration when creating your letter. If it is too small but you want a pattern, stick with something simple like dots, circles, checks, stripes, combination, or if you look at some of my art, I'll do something like, say the letter is solid, and at the top and at the bottom, I'll have one stripe. And that's it. It's oftentimes it's not how much you have, but what you have that catches your eye. We already talked about line width, but you can see here where the one in the center, I put circles, not dots. They're, kind of close to the same thing, but yet they're different. You can see here on the serif and sans serif, they really do look dramatically different. When you start playing around with the shapes, the lines, the letters, you will find this to be true a lot of the time, if not all the time. One looks very decorative and the other does not. Now, mind you, it can be a masculine shape and still look very decorative. It all depends on what you do to it. Because you remember, we've taken the alphabet down to its basic two shapes and we're building it up. So you can do anything you want. You can take a feminine line and make it look masculine. Masculine can take on a very feminine look and vice versa. It depends on what else you add to it, what colors you put with it, if you put colors. And now a little bit about embellishments. I love embellishments. They can turn something that is very simple into one of the most decorative pieces of art in any way that you want. But those are subjects for other videos and for the book. The biggest point of this video is to understand the difference between feminine and masculine lines, and that you only have two. This was from the last video to start with. How are you going to combine the ones and O's, the feminine masculine, in such a way that it shows what you are trying to express? Okay, well, that's it. So I do hope you enjoyed this and learned something. And I will see you on the next video. And please remember, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and also I would love to hear your comments and suggestions, because I think it's a pretty interesting concept to break down the alphabet into two basic parts and then find out that they're feminine and masculine. So I would really enjoy your thoughts on that. And I would like to give my sincerest thanks to Cherry Burke, Lori Dobson, Maria Harkey, and Travis Williams for helping to make this video possible. Thank you. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.